Look at me and tell me what you see. I look at you and tell you what I feel. Look at me and tell me what you see. I look at you and tell you what I feel.
Welcome back. This week is the start of a new series, and we'll be going back to the subject of zombies with the Resident Evil series, starting with, obviously, Resident Evil. And although based on the games of the same name, the film really doesn't have anything to do with it. Different characters and different plot. So let's begin with Resident Evil. The film opens with narration and cameo from Jason Isaacs telling us about the Umbrella Corporation, that they're a pharmaceutical and biological weapons manufacturer. Basically, the Umbrella Corporation does the sort of thing that anti-vaccine morons think real pharmaceuticals do on a daily basis. Except Umbrella is probably mild in comparison. We move to an Umbrella facility with an unknown person moving vials of what will be known as the T-virus and antivirus into a case and then throwing one into the room so that it smashes, causing it to infect the place. Firstly, wouldn't that infect him too? I don't know how quick viruses move, but it's probably not good to be in the same room with one uncontained. And even then, he threw the thing into a sealed clean room, so logically, it wouldn't do anything to the place anyway. But logic is of no concern here, as the clean room rather stupidly has air vents to the rest of the facility, just to introduce you to the concept of Umbrella being completely fucking stupid from the get-go. We see a regular working day go about with this worker getting coffee on himself, but in the kennels, the dogs sense something is wrong, and back in the clean room, the surveillance identifies the biohazard and proceeds to call a fire drill, locking the doors and stopping the elevators, and then the sprinklers in the clean room turn on.
No fire! What's wrong with you?
This water isn't going anywhere!
What?
It's a sealed room!
Yeah, except for the air vents we saw that would make it impossible to fill with water. But never mind. Back in the elevator, which is unresponsive, they hear the one next to them plummet to the ground, killing the people inside. And then their elevator starts to fall, but comes to a stop at the 3rd floor. And in the offices, all the workers are suffocated by halon gas, and the people in the elevator manage to get the door open and see everyone is now dead. And one of them utters one of those famous last words.
I can squeeze through.
She manages to get herself through halfway, but with HAL 9000 watching the elevator, it starts to fall again. However, it stops just at the floor, until the woman has just her head out the door, and the inevitable happens. What's with the bizarrely psychotic and sadistic computer? If it was just going to kill them all to prevent the spread of infection, it would have just dropped the elevator like it did the other one. But no, it went up and down and stopped and started, and for what? To kill one random office worker? When the computer had just slaughtered an entire room of them? That's extreme movie logic right there. We're then introduced to the series' main protagonist, Alice, although she's never actually named in this film, played by Milla Jovovich, and after this film was finished, she and the director Paul W.S. Anderson became engaged. But even before that, Paul had what I like to call look at my hot wife syndrome. This'll get worse as we progress, trust me. Alice wakes up bruised from her falling in the shower, and she also has that great cliché, "I have amnesia," which will make her blank slate of a character fun to watch slowly getting her memory back, and thus we get told what the hell's going on. She finds a note, testing to see if it's her own handwriting, and looking through some drawers, she finds something more than just socks and underwear. She gets dressed and looks around some more, with her seeing a photo of her wedding, and then a scare moment as someone or something runs behind her. But as she goes to investigate, the movie gets a hell of a lot louder, as a guy grabs Alice, and then the Spec Ops come flying through the window, all while heavy metal music plays. A little bit of trivia for you, but the guy that grabbed Alice, Matt, is played by Eric Mabius, who was the Crow in my second ever review, Crow Salvation. But the larger coincidence is that Mabius' character was originally going to go to David Boreanaz, who was in my third ever review, Crow Wicked Prayer. All we need now is a Dennis Hopper cameo.
Wicked ass props to you, Mr. OG. And thanks for representing all the homeboys.
Oh yeah, that felt good. Matt draws his handgun, which results in him being immediately handcuffed by the Spec Ops guys, with him telling them he's a cop. and the Spec Ops leader tells Alice to report, but one of the others tells him that she... what was it?
I have amnesia!
Yeah, that's the one. They do a background check on Matt, the supposed cop, but they can't find anything on him, which he says it's because he just transferred, and they decide to take him with them on their mission. Yeah, he might be a corporate saboteur or some kind of spy. Spoiler, he is. So it makes perfect sense for them to take him into the place he couldn't have possibly gained access to without their help. Also, there are quite a few references to the game series in this scene. Like Matt's cover of being a recently transferred cop is just like Leon from Resident Evil 2. Or the gear the Spec Ops guys are wearing is just like the mercs who stole the G-Virus also in Resident Evil 2. Is it me or are they referencing the wrong game? And obviously before going into the facility that had a massive viral outbreak, they take off their gas masks before going inside. They're smart like that. They sync watches with a big timer on the wall and work to get the train into the facility working again, as one of the team, Rains, starts working on the tracks. And there's a moment of, ooh, what might be hiding in the darkness, until one of the other team members just scares the shit out of her.
You done yet? Jumpy.
Hey, I wouldn't do that. Michelle Rodriguez seems like the kind of person who would shoot you in the face for that sort of thing. They get the train moving and they find one of the doors is sealed shut, which, upon getting open, they find another person who...
I have amnesia!
But he does jog Alice's memory of being married to him, but it's not as it seems. Wow, is the Umbrella Corporation that hard up for cash they need to claim ownership of wedding bands? They get to the main door of the facility with the computer scanning them so it knows they're there. And it might seem a bit nitpicky, but as the computer scans them, it also scans their guns, saying they all have an MP5, when only 2 actually have that gun. Like I said, yes, it's nitpicky, but I just find it funny to imagine that the computer is actually just scanning them and then going, gun! Must be this gun. Gun! Must be this gun. Gun! Must be this gun. Adds a new spin on it, you know, like maybe the computer's not malevolent and just really dumb. While they work to get the main blast doors open, Alice asks the guy in charge what's going on. He's reluctant, but she insists. He explains that they all work for Umbrella, and Alice and the other amnesiac are security operatives protecting the mansion entrance to the facility known as the Hive. He also tells them about their marriage.
What about this?
Your marriage is a fake. Just part of your cover to protect the secrecy of the Hive.
Why do they need to pretend to be married exactly? It's not like they had many visitors. And even then, would anyone really give a shit that they weren't married? It just seems a lot of effort to go through when I doubt anyone could care less. They're told why they can't remember anything because part of the security protocol is that a nerve gas was released into the mansion, causing anyone in the mansion to pass out. Which makes sense. You would incapacitate your last line of security defense when something goes wrong. I mean, that's common fucking sense, isn't it? They get the blast doors open and one of the team turns on the fake city backdrop, because the entire Hive is under Raccoon City. Which honestly should be your first tip-off that you're working for an evil corporation when their secret facilities are deep underground. They make their way down to the centre of the facility with the techie saying the Red Queen has locked onto their position and is monitoring them. The Red Queen is our HAL 9000 psychotic computer for this film. And yes, Red Queen Alice, very clever. Although this film has much connection to Alice in Wonderland as it does Resident Evil. Could almost be a gritty reboot. Still better than Tim Burton's efforts. The group continues through the facility finding clean rooms that are completely filled with water. Even though again we saw plain as day that there were air vents out of there. They need to find an alternate route, and while they do, the guy in charge explains that the Red Queen went homicidal for reasons unknown to them. That's why they're here, to find out what happened and turn off the Red Queen. Then a drowned woman scares the shit out of everyone.
Jesus!
Which leads to the amnesia guy offering his jacket to Alice, giving her a sex memory of him. But he still doesn't remember anything. And after leaving, the drowned woman seems not to be as dead as she looked. To get to the Red Queen, they need to go through Dining Hall B, but when they get there, they're surprised to find the place not as they expected.
Dining Hall B. That's what it says on the map.
Maybe you're reading it wrong.
Maybe the corporation's keeping a few secrets down here. Something you're not supposed to see.
Oh my god. If you have a secret you're not willing to tell to your Special Ops Merc team to the detriment of the mission they're on, you might just be an idiot. What purpose does it serve? Because I'm sure that same Special Ops team who are willing to shoot on sight thinks Umbrella is creating sweet-smelling rainbows in their underground base. We get that Umbrella is evil, but they're that special kind of evil. Because let's be honest, the guy who's willing to nuke the world to control it is far less dangerous than the moron who's willing to nuke it because he thinks the button is shiny. I think you can guess which one is Umbrella. They reach the Red Queen's chamber with some of the group staying behind just in case there are survivors, and the tech guy breaks through the security defences, opening the door. The leader makes his way down the corridor with the lights turning on to freak him out a bit, and he manages to get the connecting door open. But once a lot of the team get into the corridor, the doors close and the weapon system starts up, as a laser emits from the wall, speeding at the team. And how ironic, the medic is the first to die. Although the slice seems to be going diagonally upwards when it should be straight, but dead is dead, I guess. The laser returns with one guy trying to jump it, but the laser swiftly moves up and kills him too, and the leader pulls off some acrobatics to avoid it. However, as we established in Aliens vs Predator, Paul W.S. Anderson really likes cubing Colin Salmon, as the laser becomes a big mesh, killing the guy. Why didn't it just do that from the start? Seems like that would have been more efficient. But looking at it, isn't there a very clear space between the door and the emitters? Just stand there and you're safe, surely. Or, here's an idea, why not use those big guns they got and shoot the walls? What I'm saying is, there were ways to get out of that situation. Everyone is naturally traumatized, with the tech guy understandably nervous as he goes down the corridor that oddly seems to be missing the chunky leader. But Alice joins him, giving him a hand, and they get into the mainframe. They start setting up the device to shut down the Red Queen, but then it gets creepier as the holographic representation of the Red Queen is a small child.
They try to deceive us, confuse us.
I wouldn't advise this. Disabling me will result in loss of primary power.
Say anything to stop us from shutting her down.
Because evil computers just get worse when they have a slight lisp.
You're all going to die down here.
Don't you just hate it when bratty kids talk back to you like that? However, rather annoyingly, the creepy child computer might be right, as the power is cut, which results in all the previously closed-off areas now opening up, releasing unknown horrors on our main characters. Spoilers, it's zombies. Sorry if I ruined that for you. Back in Dining Hall B, after the doors have been opened, the ones that stayed behind and their prisoner hear a noise. Rains goes to investigate, and what do you know, she finds a survivor. Well, that is until she bites Rains on the hand. The other merc guy comes running to help, holding the woman at gunpoint, but obviously she doesn't freeze. Ha! I think that was zombie for you son of a bitch. He shoots her some more until Rains just unloads her machine gun on her.
I shot her 5 times. How is she still standing?
Bitch isn't standing now.
See? That's how Rodriguez does things. It's pretty awesome. However, Matt spies the handcuff keys that Rains dropped, and while they wonder where the body went, he kneels down with Alice.
Looks like it's coagulated.
Yeah.
It's not possible.
Why not?
Because blood doesn't do that until after you're dead.
Yes, it does. That's kind of how it works. I mean, that's what it does. And the tech guy has to break the news that no one else is coming, but the conversation is cut short as all the zombies start flooding in. I hate to interrupt this tense moment, but if everyone died at roughly the same time in the hive, how did those zombies get those face wounds? Mostly all of the people were suffocated to death, so shouldn't they just look normal for the most part? The woman zombie from before comes back to attack Rains, and then the shooting begins with no one deciding to take a headshot. And then one of the tanks is ruptured and it gives us a nice explosion to watch. Alice is thrown by the explosion, which causes some of her memories to return, and she remembers negotiating with someone to give them access and information on the hive and Umbrella. While everyone runs and shoots, Matt's still trying to get the handcuff keys, grabbing them from a grating while fending off a zombie. The The other group tried to get the elevator open, with the tech guy being pretty incompetent not getting the code right on the door. So the other guy takes over, and even then it takes a stupid amount of time for him to get the code right. However, his incompetence probably saved him from a grisly fate, as the doors open and the guy is grabbed by all the zombies waiting inside. And while trying to save him, Rains gets bitten again in the process, and they're forced to run. And after they leave, this horrible abomination, the worst thing Umbrella could ever create, is released. Yes, horrible, outdated CGI. Everyone except for Alice and Matt have made it back to the Queen's chamber, with them commenting on the fact that the bodies in the corridor have disappeared. Which is a reference to the games in how bodies disappeared when you left and re-entered a room. Except there it was due to a lack of processing power. Here it just doesn't make any sense. Alice, who got separated from Matt, finds herself in a now empty dog kennel. That is until a now dead and rotting dog appears to attack Alice, forcing her to take refuge behind the door. Which is where the dog keeper zombie attacks her. But she's surprisingly capable despite being pretty much useless so far, and kicks the zombie in the face. The fight causes Alice to have a flashback, although weirdly, she has a flashback of both a makeup artist and the slate for the scene, which is either supposed to be an Easter egg or just really bad editing. She tries to get the guy's gun, grabbing it just as the dog bursts through the window, forcing her to run through the door, into even more dogs, but Alice gains her marksmanship skills and shoots them all pretty fast. Umbrella branded bullets as well. It would seem they really don't like other companies, do they? But yet another dog attacks Alice, but this time she does a rather over-the-top flying kick from off the wall. Flashy, yes. Necessary? I don't think so. Very out of place to have her so useful in such a short space of time. Couldn't they have built that up more? Have her skills come back to her like her memories did? At the very least, that would have been more consistent. Matt, on his own, which is a smart idea, goes into the office we saw at the start, and he's looking for something. What, we don't know yet. He picks up a name tag of Lisa and recognises her and starts searching her desk, with a zombie jump-scaring him from behind the window. And after a quick scene with Rains and Tech Guy saying they're low on ammo, we're back in the office minus the zombie. I guess he got bored. But then the woman, Lisa, appears behind him, and it's pretty clear she's also a zombie, especially when she tries to bite Matt's face off. But Alice stoves her head in with a paperweight. And Alice recognises the woman as well as the person she was giving information to, and that she was Matt's sister, and they were both working to take down Umbrella, and he thinks his sister's contact, i.e. Alice, betrayed her. The very next scene, Alice and Matt are running from the zombies into the Queen's chamber, which is quite the jump from the quiet talky scene we just had. And inside the control room, the real problem is explained, as Rains tells them that the big blast doors will seal shut completely in under an hour, and if they're not out by then, they're not getting out.
Containing the incident is the only fail-safe plan they have against possible contamination.
Please remember this, because it'll get stupid later. Alice decides the best bet is to turn on the Red Queen to see if she can help, bypassing the circuit breaker with a remote switch to shut her down permanently just in case she's uncooperative. The Queen activates with the hologram broken, so she's just a creepy disembodied little girl voice now, and she explains what the T-virus does and how it does it.
Even in death, the human body still remains active. Hair and fingernails continue to grow. New cells are produced, and the brain itself holds a small electrical charge that takes months to dissipate. The T-virus provides a massive jolt both to cellular growth and to those trace electrical impulses. But quite simply, it reanimates the body.
I know I'm complaining about scientific inaccuracies in a zombie movie, but it's actually a myth that hair and nails continue to grow after you die. It's actually the retraction of the skin that makes it appear like they've grown. The Queen also explains more about the virus.
The T-virus escaped into the air conditioning system, and an uncontrolled pattern of infection began. The virus is protean, changing from liquid to airborne to blood transmission, depending on its environment.
I don't know much about virology, but wouldn't that mean it would become airborne again once a zombie's blood is exposed to air? I'm just speculating, but that would seem to be the case. And the Queen says she can't allow Rains to leave as she's already infected, which we knew, but they didn't. The Queen gives them a way out, and it's of course a sewer level, quite the video game adaptation now. They wander around for a bit, following the directions the Queen gave them, with them having a little spat until all the zombies show up at once. How did they not hear them coming? Alice kicks some ass while the others hold back the horde, and she tells them to get up on the pipes. But while doing so, the tech guy gets bitten in the leg, and then Rains gets bitten again. And then the guy who died in the elevator returns, only to bite Rains again. If there's a record for the most zombie bites, either Rains has got it, or she's definitely a solid contender. On the pipes, everyone is resting, with Rains chumming the water a bit, dripping her blood onto the zombies. They make their way across the pipes, but the zombies start pulling them down. Alice makes it across, but the tech guy is dropped into the horde. He manages to get free of them and climb up the pipe, but...
That's lucky. I want you to go.
You do realise you have the Queen's off switch they need?
I'm not going anywhere.
Yes, they realise that, but...
Just do it! Just do it now!
You have the detonator, man!
Go!
Alright, fine. Jeez, selfish dick. He then tries to shoot himself, but instead takes out the zombie and tries to find a way out. So it was kind of stupid to tell the others to leave him. The rest of the group manage to get back into the facility, and Alice has another flashback, as she sees the facility as it was before, seeing scientists working with the virus, but also the antivirus, giving Rains some hope of surviving. And in the lab, she confesses to Matt that she was his sister's contact, but she can't remember if she was the one who betrayed her or not. She looks for the antivirus, but as we saw, they're all gone. But that's when our other amnesiac gets all his memories back at once, remembering that he was the one that started all of this, overhearing Alice's plans, writing her the note from the start. Even though it looks nothing like the note from the start. Well done, the guy in charge of continuity. We also see he was the guy who spilt the office workers' coffee, so we know he's evil now. Which is kind of disappointing. Wouldn't it have been far more interesting for him to slowly get his memories back like Alice did, and over time he comes to the realization that he's the bad guy and has to hide that fact? You know, we see he's getting increasingly suspicious, but even he doesn't really know why yet. That's far more interesting than just going, bang, he's the token bad guy now. It's the same method they used for Alice getting her skills back. There's just no build-up there. And Alice knows the guy's evil now, jumping for the gun, but he picks it up and holds them all at gunpoint. He tries to get Alice to come with him, and Rains, who's looking like shit now, asks where he took the case with the virus and antivirus, which is still on the train from the start. The conversation is cut short, however, when the dead scientist lady gets hungry and jumps on the guy, biting him. There's a struggle, but he gets free and runs off, breaking the door lock as he does, trapping them inside. But the Red Queen makes another appearance to say he more than likely won't get far, as he gets to the train without much effort and gets a syringe of the antivirus ready, but is stopped when Umbrella's CGI monstrosity climbs in from the roof and takes the guy out. And it begins to mutate into a much bigger CGI monstrosity. They try to get the door open, but the Queen has the code for it, which she won't give until they kill Rains to prevent an outbreak. And the creature appears at the window to make the situation that more dire. Rains tells Alice to kill her, with the Queen demanding off with her head, but Alice just chucks the axe at the monitor to shut up the Queen, which is pretty ineffectual in the scheme of things. And then the lights go out as Techie Guy returns from the dead. I'm so glad he survived his ordeal. I'm sure it won't end disappointingly. They get to the train, starting it up, and Alice even gets some form of revenge as the guy killed by the creature reanimates, with Alice killing him with an axe to the head. On the train, Alice manages to give Rains and Tech Guy the antivirus, so yay, she's gonna be fine.
Rain.
Or not. Well, that's a shame. But as Alice goes to shoot her, she just pops right back up. So yay, a bit of light-hearted relief for the end of the film. Until the creature starts ripping the train to shreds like it's tracing paper, scratching Matt in the process. And then our old techie is grabbed and killed by the creature instantly. I'm so glad he came back as a plot device, then is swiftly ejected from the film. The creature gets inside with Alice taking a few pot shots at it. It grabs her leg and Matt hits it with some pipes, which Alice uses to trap its tongue, telling Matt to get the bay door open. But there's a problem. That's really shitty writing, because they give her the cure, fake us out with her looking like she's dead but she's actually fine, but then she dies anyway. It's like taking your audience on this roller coaster of emotions and then stopping the coaster halfway through to slap them in the face and tell them to calm down. Pointless ride and crap non-resolution. But anyway, Matt shoots Rains in the head, which causes her to fall back on the bay door button, dropping the creature as it burns up on the tracks, dead for good. Matt and Alice manage to get into the mansion, but Matt's arm starts to mutate painfully. Alice tries to get the antivirus, but scientists show up to take Matt, saying they want him for the Nemesis program, which is something for the sequel. And Alice is sedated and sent to a facility in Raccoon City. Then something really damn stupid.
We're reopening the hive. I want to know what went on down there. Just do it.
So apparently the last resort of sealing the hive for good wasn't that permanent. If they'd have just waited inside, it would have opened up fairly soon. But yes, Umbrella completely ignoring its own security procedures. They really do love that shiny button, don't they? Alice wakes up alone with tubes all over her body. Yep, I knew we'd get another one of those before the end of this film. And Alice makes her way outside to see the city has gone completely to shit. Even with a The Dead Walks news headline straight out of Romero's Day of the Dead. And Alice grabs a nearby shotgun to prepare for the inevitable sequel. So there you go, Resident Evil. And all things considered, it's probably the most down-to-earth the series ever got. Because seriously, it loses its fucking mind. As a video game adaptation, it's not too bad, mainly because it barely has anything to do with the video game. It uses the source material as a jumping on point for its own story. And let's be honest, if it was a straight game-to-screen adaptation, all I can think of is a 4-hour movie of characters trying to get the right key for the right fucking door. The movie is kinda brainless, but it's not too bad. It can be an enjoyable watch, just don't think about it too hard. But yes, like I said, the series is about to get a hell of a lot crazier and stupid as fuck. Join me next week for Resident Evil Apocalypse, because the films abandon any kind of numbering system just to make my job that little bit harder. See you next time. No, that's far too obvious.
I'm singing in the rain, just singing in the rain. What a glorious feeling, I'm happy again. I'm laughing.